What did a crush do that made you instantly lose interest in him/her? She asked me if I wanted to go to a concert with her, then she wanted me to pay for both tickets that I knew she got for free. Promptly laughed at her and told her she can fuck off with some other idiot. It's funny how fast the ugliness on the inside can overcome anything good on the outside. She did me a favor that day. We were out drinking, he got drunk and started fighting a guy that he thought had been harassing me. The guy said he didn't harass me. I said he didn't harass me. My crush still tried to defend me. Never lost interest faster. I worked up the courage to ask this girl to go on a date. She said yes. On the date, she proceeded to spend the whole time gossiping about anyone and everyone she could talk bad about. I still remember the moment it clicked that she was just super shallow and mean. Was crushing on this girl for fucking months, and it turns out at her last apartment she stole $1,500 for coke and abruptly ended the lease, giving her 2 roommates barely any time at all to find new housing, one of which had to move back in with their abusive mother. He tossed an empty drink bottle onto a random lawn as we walked down the street. Here's a light-hearted one. I developed my first crush when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. This was right around the time when Pokemon were first becoming really popular, so naturally I was obsessed with them. I had the cards, the Game Boy games, etc. One day I overheard the girl I had a crush on talking to her friends at recess about how weird Pokemon were, and thus in a flash a young love was extinguished. Fast forward about 22 years and my wife also doesn't like Pokemon, because life is strange. She was going to a party and I said, "You seem pretty unenthusiastic about going." She replied with, "Don't use big words." Threw rocks at a cat because she thought it was funny. We were 5, had planned to marry when we got older with a pancake cake and everything. I was invited to his birthday party and he and his friend was climbing a tree with him being higher up. Suddenly he pees down on his friend. We never got married. He was mean to his mom. Demanded money from her so we could go out, in front of me, and then called his grandma to get some more money so we could go out. So uncomfortable. Not my crush, but someone who had a crush on me, or so I was told. She asked for my birthday, and I told her. She then calculated that I was younger than her by a week or so and straight up said to me, "I did have a crush on a guy, but then I found out he was younger than me, so now there's not crush." Damn dude. It was a teenage crush. He had multiple girlfriends, who didn't know about each other. Disloyalty is not cool. Found out she was a cousin. We were in class together, and it was all a pure coincidence. Neither of us had any idea until a family member casually mentioned to me, "Doesn't her name go to your school?" Well, crap. Not something that she did, but her breath smelled like shit. Literally like shit. I had a crush on a guy in 5th grade. He found out about my crush and made a really hateful nickname for me and teased me about my body. Got all of his friends to tease me too. Realizing he was a garbage person set me straight pretty quickly. This is a serious response. He threatened to kill me and himself if I broke up with him. We were alone in the house and he was having some sort of episode where he spaced out, became robotic, and dissociated. This made him act very slow and lethargic. He had mental issues. I grabbed my stuff and ran. Never saw him again, but I know he was hospitalized. I'm married now and he hasn't contacted me since. I actually hope he's doing better. Crush on a girl my junior year of college. She liked to heavily make fun of people, and I mean hard. Like to the point I would say hi to someone I knew. After we walked off she would have some remark. She went from attractive to not wanting to be around her really quickly. She referred to Mexicans as wetbacks. I look white. What she didn't know is that I'm part Mexican. Racism of any kind towards anyone is an instant turn-off. Asterisk. He drove like an idiot while I was in the car. I literally thought he was going to kill us, and he was road raging the whole time. This was on the highway too. I asked him to stop driving like that and he didn't. Never going out with him again. Tortured a housefly and gave an oral book report trashing my favorite book, at the time, for being boring and having too many words. Then started bragging he could have any girl in the school he wanted. And hashtag X200B. Shortest crush of my life. I misunderstood a comment, and he was a dick about it in front of a few people. Laughing at my instead of kindly correcting me. What a fuckhead. Told her I liked her, then she blocked me on all social media and bullied me harshly whenever she saw me. Ouch. I'm in. That was a joke, please don't do that. Dude, she knocked over my Lego Death Star, she had to go. She started posting videos of her making out with drunk old men to her Snap. We're both in college. When I said I was legitimately suicidal and wanted to talk to her to get my mind off of it, she responded with, "You're so self-centered." And, "LOL, do it, pussy." And the best part is I thought we were good friends up until that point. bully me to depression. You shouldn't play Dungeons and Dragons, you know. When you cast the spells in the game, you're actually casting them in your spirit, and that lets the devil get into you. I was like, wait. And I'm supposed to be the one who can't tell reality from fiction? Long distance, only online crush/boyfriend. We were playing a modified TTRPG in the early 2010s and we made the horrible mistake of playing versions of ourselves, same names, ages, etc. Lots of shit happened, but the thing that really made me feel like shit was when I felt like a third wheel with him and his best bro. We were playing in a survival setting, so we would delegate chores to make sure we had supplies, fuel, ammo, etc. by the end of each day. Every time my BF would choose to go with his guy friend for things. I didn't mind the first couple of times, but I did kinda want a day where the two of us hung out, since, again, this was a LD relationship, never happened. The one time I forced the issue and said I was coming along to hunt or something, they just ignored me and did their usual thing. Joke's on me though. Turns out BF was deep in the closet and hanging out with his guy friend in game was him living out his fantasy of having a boyfriend. We are 8 or so and he asked for a pen. So I gave him mine. He chewed on it, instant turn off. Alcohol and cigarettes. We were 13 back then. Rejected me. Don't keep trying when you know it's pointless, guys. She saw an Oreo in the cleaner's dustpan, picked it up, and ate it. Made fun of a chick who was into him for being chubby. He was fluffy himself, and I called him on it, and walked away from that. Not me but my wife before we met. There was an event in Salt Lake City, and she was from Northern Washington. She had a crush on this guy and decided to join carpooling with him and couple other people. They stopped to grab some fast food and went back on their way. Well, as soon as he finished eating/drinking, he tossed the whole bag out the window while driving. After that, she barely talked to him, and once they got to SLC she left him and joined some other friends and went back home with them instead. Some guy I went out with kept trying to convince me to sleep with him even after repeatedly telling him no. Some people just can't take no for an answer. Hey, we still good for tomorrow? Sorry, my boyfriend wants to come over. Great way to find out she both forgot about our plans and had a BF. I had been seeing this girl for 2 months in college and things were going alright. I was helping her move when she decided it was the moment to have a serious talk. She sat me down and in a very serious tone told me she had been doing some digging. She confronted me with the fact that I had dated black women. I kind of thought it was a joke at first. I guess my brain couldn't comprehend that this was still a thing. No, she was dead serious and explained to me that while she had nothing against black people, she didn't believe in mixing races. I was dumbfounded. I got up and walked out. A few things. She told me she hated how much guys share their feelings/emotions now. She said that if she dates someone she wants them to be a typical man and not show any type of weakness. One of those things like, I don't want to hear if a man is sad or upset, I just don't care. She liked pretty heavy music. Like prog metal and hardcore music, which is cool. However, she didn't like anything else and would blatantly put down any other type of music and or not give it a chance. Almost made you feel stupid for liking anything else. Showed her a friend's artwork and her response was, yeah, not impressive, it would be impressive if they did X and Y. Like, I understand that you don't have to like every person's art, but her demeanor about it was too condescending. A mix between sudden and extreme explosive road rage and a misogynistic rant that came out of nowhere. He's an ex now, but he's gotten worse. Showed his true colors obviously. Moved to a different school. Got someone pregnant. Accused me of cheating because I had female friends. In my very first relationship, they kept telling me every fucking day how much they'd been hurt in the past and that they hoped I wouldn't make them suffer the same. I tried to help them, like talk about their problems and all, but since it was a long-distance relationship it was kinda hard. And them always talking about suicidal things made me so worried it was terrible for my mental health. I wanted to leave since it made me lose interest, but I didn't want to hurt them, like they kept saying how much they'd been hurt. And one day it was too much for me, so I just blocked them everywhere. I know I'm kinda the bad guy in this story for just leaving like that, but I just couldn't bear it anymore. Had a crush on this girl who was dating someone at the time. I was hanging out with her, and she kept checking her phone. Later she announced she was upset because her so hadn't texted her first that day, so they hadn't texted at all. She was building resentment over literally nothing. Useful insight into what a relationship with her might have looked like. Smoking. My folks both smoked and died from lung cancer. Saw it coming as a kid. Complete turn-off and buzzkill. She asked me to prom. I said yeah. 2 days before prom, I actually don't want to go with you, but I already bought both of our tickets. As the guy, I expect you to pay me back for them. I tried to explain that's not how transactions work. She kept telling me it was my responsibility. I asked if she was smoking crack. Never heard from her again. TW animal abuse. He'd constantly hit his cat in front of me and scare him on purpose. Poor baby had bladder problems, and would get hit every time he had an accident. Dash. Not necessarily a crush, but a married coworker I might be interested in if she were single. My coworkers had a bar crawl for a holiday party one year. We finished at one of the bars, so some of us started going to the next bar that was just down the street. My coworker and I passed this one store that sold games like Magic and D&D. She half-joked that she was tempted to go in and laugh at the people in there. That rubbed me the wrong way for two reasons. First, she's a school counselor and talked about how bullying is bad. Hypocrite much? Secondly, I'm the kind of person who might play those kinds of games, so she unknowingly said that she'd be willing to laugh at me. They poked fun at my mom. Going to a primarily white school, him and a group of his guy friends always made fun of how she dressed and how short she was. I didn't super know him, but he was a part of the group that did, and that's all I needed to know. My mom is this sweet, short Asian woman who loves to smile, and yes, she sometimes wears goofy clothing, but no one makes fun of my mama. No one. I have a boyfriend. He said that he doesn't like ugly people and they all should die or be put in a corner. Told me how her cat was sick so she snapped its neck to put it out of its misery. Told me that while he thought I wasn't dumb, that I couldn't be smarter than him because I was female and a few months younger. Our test scores, entrance exams and work history later determined that that was a lie. He was an ass to our teacher because he was going to play baseball in college. Looked him up and he's definitely not doing it professionally and hasn't graduated yet. We went out to breakfast, maybe our second or third date, and bumped into his friend who sat with us for a bit while ordering a coffee to go. Just long enough to be super rude to the guy serving us. I just couldn't get over the fact that he had friends like this. I let it fade out. Bumped into him maybe a year later, and he opened with telling me that he'd written off that friend as a total jerk, and that he should have stopped giving him the time of day after high school. I literally high-fived him, which he thought was funny, and went out for a few years after that. Went on a date with a guy to a Chinese restaurant, and as we were leaving he threw trash on the ground when there was a trash can a few feet away. Then we went to his house to watch a movie and he picked his cat up by the scruff of its neck and threw it. Not a set it down to get it off the counter kind of thing but a legit throw across the room. I left right then and there and told him why. He called me a bitch and a tease, for whatever reason, never gave him the impression I was going to sleep with him that night, and was yelling at me as I was backing my car out of his drive. I got to the end of his road and blocked his number. Got in his car for a date, and he rolled down his window and threw about 5 fast food cups out on the side of the road. Made a comment about there being enough illegals around to clean up after him. Nope. Dissed my kid. You don't do that, ever. She said no when I asked her out. She never disappointed me and I think I could have feelings for her again, but the fact that she doesn't feel the same way killed my feelings automatically because I believe somebody who returns my feelings deserves them more. We got friends by the way and I still like her, but in a friendly way now. Oh, if only my brain could better turn off feelings once someone treats me terribly. I think I'm better at this now, but my teen years and early 20s were not good experiences with women. Smoke in my car. I knew she was a smoker, but doing that in someone else's car, especially a non-smoker, without authorization is a complete lack of education. Made me even more pissed cause the previous owner was a smoker, and it took nearly a year to take that smell off the car. Even the car got pissed at her, it broke down half the way lol. I found a bag of syringes in his car and he had no explanation. I have no interest in dating a drug user. We were 16. I'm actually on my way to meet this one, but last 24 hours have made me have second thoughts. I smoke weed, and used to deal. She knows this and has been arranging to meet with me for last week. Every time it comes up though, she mentions smoking and me sorting her out with some. I don't mind her asking me to buy weed as long as she pays me back, but it's like every other message she sends. Don't get me wrong, I'd love a stoner GF, but not if that is her whole personality, and all the value she sees in me. She had a placard for handicap parking from a friend that she stole and abused at will. 25 years old, hot AF, and an entitled sociopath. We were on a date at Jamie's Italian and he ordered for me. He got me a salad. He had a lowly fetish. I'll leave it at that. Bragged about all the people she had slept with. Talked shit about me behind my back. We're out on a second date with a girl I fancy. Went bowling and had a really great time, although I can't remember if I won. Afterwards she told me a friend of her really wanted a pair of bowling shoes, so she decided to casually slip the rentals down her purse. Silly small theft I guess, but still had me lose all interest, instantly. she disrespected the food my mom made specially for her. I was chillin' with them, and they said, "At least I'm cute. If I wasn't cute, I don't know where I'd be. I'm so glad I'm not ugly. Being ugly must suck." Immediately I wanted nothing to do with them. I was like, "Get me the fuck out of this car." In my head, thinking your hot shit is not a good look. Asked her out, she said yes. Then, she dumped me 2 weeks in saying she didn't want to start anything new because she was moving in a month and didn't tell me. Then that time came for her to move, and where does she move? Into my house. She got with my roommate that looks creepily close to how I look. We would often get mistaken for brothers, twins even, and started a committed relationship with him. There were some thin walls in that house too. Got pissed at me for leaving them on read, got pissed for me not responding to them saying, okay. I crushed on a girl for a couple of years and didn't ask her out because life was busy for me, but eventually I was able to ask her out. I took her to the movies to see the most recent Star Wars movie. Before the movie started, she was slamming beers down, which I have no issue with drinking, but she was near sloppy drunk. During the movie, she would talk throughout the entire movie and constantly look at her phone. Funny enough, she would make some rude comments towards other people for talking and I would cringe at the irony. Later that night, we drove to a gas station so she could get cigarettes, and she was being completely rude to the cashier because he couldn't understand what she was asking for in her belligerent state. She tried to convince me to stay the night with her, but any attraction I had for her was completely gone. Started smoking meth, really killed my heart. He told me that God didn't intend for me to exist on this earth because I'm an IVF/test tube baby. She tried to convince me that the earth was flat, the moon landing was fake, and that I have to allow Jesus into my life, all within 10 minutes. Turns out wine is not her friend, but it saved me that night, lol. It's always the dick pics. Said that she does not like guys under 6 feet when rejecting another guy. And #X200B. And #X200B. And #X200B. He was 5 feet 8 inches. I'm 5 feet 10 inches. She's 5 feet 3 inches. This is bullshit. She was super hot but was extremely rude to the wait staff at the restaurant we had our first date at. You could just tell that hidden under that supposedly friendly/happy demeanor was an absolute terror of a person just waiting to get out. Noped out of that one with a quickness. Found out that she has 2 boyfriends and does cringe-worthy TikTok challenges. He walked me home from school. Before then we had never really spoken in depth, and I can't remember anything said. I just remember realizing he was as dumb as dirt. Dumped me day after Christmas over text, 3 days after my close grandfather passed. We were on break, eating lunch. The way he ate literally made me nauseous. Chomping. Licking his fingers. Taking bites 3 times the size of his mouth. UHG. Instant turn off. Drunkenly wet the bed with me in it. I took her out for a date, and she commenced to talking about her ex for the entire evening. It was deflating to say the least. Went out and got dinner with her. We both had a great time and wanted to go again. She didn't have a day off for a couple weeks, so it was going to be the next Friday she had off. Sounds good. She told her friend, who told me that it was one of the best dates she'd been on, and had an awesome time. She cancelled, no big deal, had to help her mom or something. More or less ghosted me after I tried to set something up again, left on read on one occasion, sent me a shrug when I asked when she had time off next on another. She was wondering why I stopped texting her as much as I used to. If you act disinterested, I'm going to be disinterested. Shit ain't high school. She wadded up her cigarette pack and threw it out the window while I was driving. I had to ask her, "Did you throw that out the car window?" I turned around to go back and pick it up. She was embarrassed, but I knew I could never be with someone like that. We were walking down a road in Manhattan, holding hands. He abruptly tossed my hand away, and I asked what's up. He waited until the guy coming towards us passed us, and said, "Sorry, I don't like black people. I mean, I don't like black men. Sorry, I mean, I don't like African men." Crushed, slaughtered, told him I didn't want to spend time with him anymore. If I were to say yes, I would just end up cheating on you. Sad face. Went on our first date, and we're sitting outside at a cafe. I was just people watching. She was pointing out what was wrong with everyone that passed by. She said she enjoyed picking out people's flaws. She thought it was a good date. Wanted me to go home with her. I was so disgusted by her personality and chapter that I was just like, nah. She was incredibly hot physically, was a bikini barista. Couldn't stand to be around her once I saw how she looks at other people.